Oh my god, let's try something.
See what happened on TV
Oh
last
yeah,
night?
I always watch.
Oh my god.
It's so fun. It was so
Yeah,
good.
I watched that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Stevie.
I'm Selena, and this is Twin Talk.
And this is just wild, crazy. We're sort of halfway through the competition.
I know, it's insane, and I always get so sad.
I know. Your favorite memorable year was the theme this year, and I pretty much cried the entire time.
Oh, basically, yeah. Well, what do you expect with the most memorable year? It's
I
always
know.
heartfelt, and it always tugs on your heartstrings, and you're always like, "Don't be mean to them," because, they're like, "Oh, I did this for my dead, best friend that died in a tragic car accident." You can't be like, "You fucking sucked. You didn't honor them."
Yeah,
You
exactly. You can't
like,
say that.
you
Although the
it's
judges
like
were picky in certain places, but they did it with a lot of grace and
well, and that's the thing, but I will say is Carrie I love Carrie Ann, and usually I agree with her, but for some reason, this season has been off for me with her.
oh really?
Yeah, like, I feel like a lot of the times when she's saying something or when she likes something or doesn't like something, I'm kind of like, "What? I don't agree
Hmm.
with that." Which is
Interesting.
fine, like, we're 2 different peoples, we're 2 different people, but it happened, I feel like, a lot this episode, so we'll get to that when we're talking about all the
Yeah.
couples individually, but man,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we'll get to it, but I feel like when she said people wobbled, I saw a wobble.
yes, I agree with that, but I'm talking more about the scores.
The scores, what like, and even the contestants were saying it. They're like, the scores aren't matching what you're telling me.
Yep,
You
that's how I
know,
feel. Yeah, it's
so
not necessarily about how she said it or what she said because I agree, and we'll get to the individual people with their wobbles or, with this or with that, but then all of a sudden the scores would come and then certain people got the same score as other people, and I'm over here just like, they do not deserve to be in the same scoring bracket.
well, that's the thing, and that's the trick is once you compare them all together, if somebody already got a 9 or already got a 10, and then somebody comes and blows them out of the water, it's
Yeah.
like, well, fuck, you already gave away a 10, so that 10 doesn't seem like it means as much anymore.
Yeah.
Even though that person deserved a 10 more than the person who got a 10 first. So,
Yeah.
you just have to be careful about picking and choosing, and America has to vote, and or Canada or whoever's voting, who's ever watching the show, you
Oh,
know.
well, only the East Coast gets to vote, Stevie.
Oh, I know, it's so fucked up.
I hate that I have to vote before the competition because whatever, we've
We're
talked
not
about
voting
that
on the
before.
dances.
Yeah. It
Um,
is a popularity that way it is a popularity contest.
yeah,
And
so based
I
only
don't
by
think that's
the
fair.
people on the East Coast.
Exactly.
So yeah, that does suck. So they didn't do an opening dance, presumably because they had the Len Goodman tribute dance. So they
Uh-huh.
jumped right in to the dances. First was Mira and Gleb. They did a contemporary to Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time.
Mhm.
Um, her most memorable year was 2004. It's the year she had her daughter, Matea. Um, her daughter is a ballet dancer for a company, and her daughter actually came out
Mhm.
and did part of the dance. Thoughts?
Well, okay. I thought her daughter looked great. I thought it was a sweet moment. Don't get me wrong, but she still hasn't given me what I need from her. She still hasn't broken out of her shell.
I
And I
guess
really
so,
thought
yeah.
that that could have happened when her daughter was there, but there's something still timid, something still shy about her. And maybe that's just how she is and she can't get rid of it. But like, I really thought she was going to pull a Luna Lovegood and she was going to just come out of her shell and
Yeah.
it was going to be this beautiful moment. And it wasn't. I felt like her daughter took away from, in a lot of senses, her like her daughter when Mira came out or when Mira was on like Gleb's feet and she was doing that little thing and then her
Uh-huh.
daughter was doing pirouettes, like I was only looking at her daughter and when Mira did that with Gleb, it didn't look good.
It didn't look good, and I think it would have been sweet for them to have their moment in the beginning, which they had, and then the daughter left, and then the daughter never came back.
Yeah.
Or maybe she came back at the very end for that like final little handhold they did, or
Mhm.
the little heart that they
Right.
did just to like sort of cap it off.
But
But
she was in it so much, and I was just watching
her,
her, or I was watching Gleb.
yeah. And I I know that there was a lot of odes to the Romeo and Michelle dance.
Yeah.
But honestly, I haven't seen that movie in so long that like I knew that like some of the moves they were doing, like the underhanded three-way twist, like
Mhm.
I knew that was in Romeo and Michelle, but because the rest of the choreography I just didn't particularly like,
Mhm.
and it was so campy, which I understand. You know, you brought
Mhm.
joy into the contemporary and it had that funny element or whatever the case may be. It just didn't read to me. It
Yeah.
just didn't read to me. So
Yeah.
that was a disappointing dance in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. But the problem is that she's never she's never excited me, and I've always wanted her to, which was so sad because she's
Yeah.
beautiful and she has these great lines and she has everything going for her,
Mhm.
but she just could never get there. And at this
Yeah.
point, I'm getting frustrated because we are so far in the competition, and if you're not going to have a breakout and you're not going to improve, I mean, really, she was plateaued
It's
the
day
whole
2.
entire this yeah since day one.
Yeah, I feel
So
like hasn't she's given us the same quality of dance for the past 5 weeks.
mhm. So she got a 787.
Uh-huh.
Um, I thought it was straight sevens,
I would have done straight
but
7s. I would have not given her an 8.
yeah, but
I think Derek was just feeling like
well, it
it's
was the first
memory
dance of the
night.
night, and he's emotional because of Len, and you know he doesn't want to go out. He's leading this huge dance. Later on for Len Goodman, he wants to
Yeah.
put out good energy, voodoo. So yeah,
Yeah.
she got a 787, and then we'll get back to her later.
I have to say I loved Bruno's suit.
Oh my gosh, that's what Brady and Margaret and I were talking about. We're like, Bruno has literally looked so on point this whole entire season.
Yeah, he really has.
And he
That's
always has
great.
some sort of flair, but his outfits this season have been freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. Whoever's doing the judges' outfits, I need to know who their stylists are. I love the
Every single
style
one of
of
them has
outfits, which
has knock on wood has looked so great, and I've loved it.
yeah, me
Oh, I
too.
still have my little Disney one up. I gotta change that.
Aw. um, next was Ariana and Pasha.
Mhm.
They did a Viennese waltz to, did you know this song?
What was the song again?
I can't remember. I didn't know the song. I never heard of it before.
No, and I didn't write it down, so I can't
Mm.
remember.
I liked it. It was a good song.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. She did her 2023, where her boyfriend and best friend, cheated when she was at her grandma's funeral, which was just so messed up. And Ariana's like so beautiful. And I know people cheat on beautiful people, but I don't know. It's just crazy when
and she seems so
you,
sweet. It's like,
right. And you hear
why?
these like allegations or I guess they're not allegations. I guess it really happened. But,
Yeah.
that was like her most memorable year because her life kind of you know, she fell apart and then she rose from the ashes or whatever. And they
Mhm.
did a VB's waltz. I freaking loved it. I thought it was so good. I think she makes dancing so easy. And I
Mhm.
know that they're giving these small critiques because they know she can do it.
Mhm.
And I loved the choreo and I think she looks stunning. And I can see where the judges are coming from with the whole like, oh, maybe it didn't really have that Viennese waltz kind of push. But at the end of the day, I thought she deserved all 9.
I thought she did too. I thought she
And
did
then
too.
she
I think
got
Mira
straight
getting a
8,
knock. Yeah. Yeah, no.
and
Mira
I'm
getting
screaming. I'm screaming at the television. I'm like, "Carrie Ann, Derek, Bruno, what the" and they gave the 8 so solidly. Like, it wasn't even like, "Oh, I really wanted it to be a 9, but the Viennese waltz just wasn't" like, they didn't even blame it on anything. They just gave her straight 8s, and I was
8s.
so confused because that was a 9 dance.
To me, it was too. To me, it was too. I love the way the dress flowed. I loved the choreo. I thought that she is a good enough dancer to have those 20 seconds where she was just standing there in the beginning, just like acting, and
Mhm.
that was part of the dance. She's a strong enough dancer to have that. And I liked that it wasn't a traditional, I mean, it was a traditional Viennese waltz. There was all the steps, there was all the content, but it did have that like hardness to it because of the content material and matter about what it was based about.
Mhm.
So I loved it. I thought it was a great, fresh new take on Vietnamese waltz. There was a small stumble, I did see that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I do feel if I'm gonna be nitpicky with her, I do feel like her wrists are really stiff, but that could have been because of the aggression of the content of the song,
Yeah, that could have just been a stylistic
like a
choice.
stylistic thing because the song was like so like fighty and aggressive. So I want to see her do ballroom again next week.
Mhm.
And maybe something, well, she's doing Halloween, so maybe she could do something really creepy and
Mhm.
like if she, oh, well,
There's
take
gonna be a lot of Paso Dobles,
there's
so
gonna
I
be
think we're
Paso
gonna be
Dobles, there's
doing
gonna
a
be
lot more.
bingoes. There
Mhm.
always is for Halloween night. So we'll see. But I would love to see her do something in ballroom again to just see if her hands do soften a bit. Just
She hasn't
because
has she done a rumba yet? I think she did rumba the second week, right?
did she do a rumba? I can't remember.
I
I don't
think
have
she's
my
already
notes.
done a rumba.
I gotta
Yeah.
go back and watch the dances. Um, but I mean I freaking loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay,
Um,
Charity and Artem's dance.
I'm freaking livid.
Livid.
Yes, I'm livid that she got the first 10 of the season.
Oh, you didn't like the dance?
It's not that I didn't like the dance. I thought the dance was cool. I thought it was acrobatic. I think I was just coming off of the fumes of Ariana not even getting 1 9 and
Yeah.
being like, "What? Like this makes no sense." And Charity did her whole thing that she was cheated on after when she went after that she was
The
cheated
same
on and then
story
she
that we
got
didn't
onto the
know at the
batch.
beginning again.
It was literally basically not only was it a story we already knew, but it was kind of like Ariana's story.
Yeah.
I my thing is trust me, I can't get my fat ass up on those monkey bars and do what she did. Like I commend her. Like she had some core strength. She really, she had emotion. Whatever. My thing was I felt like there was no dancing. And at the end of
Huh.
the day, this isn't acrobatic. This isn't acrobats with the stars. This is dancing with the stars. And I felt like I does that make sense? I just felt like there wasn't enough dancing. I felt like it was this like kind of like acrobatic show. And
Hmm.
I don't know, that's just how I felt. And I know I'm biased and towards Charity already, and I just don't want her to win because simply probably because she's a bachelorette. She could have done the same dance if she was Ariana, and I would have been like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." So like I know I'm like my biases are like showing through, but once she got that first 10, I think I'm just so bitter that the Bachelorette freaking got the first 10 because if another Bachelorette wins the season, I'm gonna be just so upset.
Interesting. I feel like I'm gonna have to go back and watch the dance again because I didn't get any of that at all. I
Mm,
loved the dance. I thought Charity really broke out. I thought it was the first time that I was like, oh my God, there's a person in there. There's somebody who
mm,
exists. Now, I completely agree with you about the package. I'm like, you can't tell us anything about yourself. Like, I don't know
yeah.
anything about you, Charity, besides you were cheated on. Okay, boo hoo. Like,
And once
fuck over it.
again, we saw this during Bachelor. We saw this during Bachelorette. Now we see the same package. Like that was why Charity season was so bad, is because we literally know nothing
Nothing
about
about
her. It's the
her.
same. There's no depth. Like, Ari, like even with Ariana, like everything that she's saying, and I've never watched Vanderpump Rules, so
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I feel like she still has this like depth of a person, and we're kind of learning things about her throughout the process.
It doesn't define her. I feel like Charity being cheated on and being in that relationship for so long and then coming out of it the other side
Hmm.
literally defines her. And it's like,
Yeah,
babe, that really shouldn't define you like that. But I mean, it showed that she's still engaged to Dutton. They're happy, whatever. But
and they're
first
so
of
cute
all,
together.
and they're cute together. But first of all, I love that song. So
Mm,
just doing that song like
I do love that song.
immediately is a good ass song for contemporary. Um, and I love the Artem. I usually don't like his choreography.
Hmm.
maybe contemporary. I feel like I've said this before about his contemporary. I feel like maybe contemporary is where he thrives because
Mhm.
I loved it. I mean, Talena, they started with just the back of their necks and the back of their knees
Mhm.
on the monkey bars, and then they did sit ups. That takes so much incredible core strength.
Girl,
Like,
I couldn't do it. That's what I'm saying is, like, I know that it was I know what she did was hard, and she made it look easy.
yeah,
I think I almost just wish that maybe, like, Sochi or somebody had gone before her and got the first 10 of the season. I don't know why
mhm.
I'm so stuck on that, but I'm just so mad that once again, like, The Bachelorette got the first 10 of the season. Like, I don't know, it just irritates me.
Well, no, I mean, and I do agree. I feel like if you were going to judge the way you had judged the previous dances,
Mhm.
then giving a 10 wasn't necessary. Like, but we are halfway through the season, so that's when they start like giving nines, giving tens. So what it is, and a 10 or a 9 or even Charity getting a 5 or a 6. Not that that would have happened, but she would have still been in the running because the Bachelor fan base is strong and they vote. So the
Yeah.
judges' scores in the grand scheme, as far as it comes to Charity, doesn't really matter because the fans have her back.
Yeah.
But I actually loved the dance, and I think it was Artem's best work. And I thought that there was enough dancing in it because it
I
was
guess I'll have
contemporary.
to I guess I'll have to rewatch it because I just felt like they were they were on the bar for so long, and
Yeah,
obviously those moves have to be, like, slow and controlled and safe, like, so then all of a sudden when they were on the floor, I just wanted more, I don't know, and then it just ended. And I know they only have certain amount of time and
see,
X,
I
Y,
thought the
and
dance was
Z.
really long.
Mm. I
Wow, we
always
have,
think they're too short.
huh?
I always think they're too
Oh, I
short.
always think they're too short too, but I thought that the dance was longish.
Hmm. Yeah, I have to rewatch them. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes it is and, like, I love watching with Brady and Grandma Margaret, but sometimes it is hard watching in that environment because,
you're trying to take
sometimes
notes.
people
And
are talking or I'm trying to take notes and, like, I can't pause it, like, when we're watching it together, you know, w we can watch it and we can pause it, and then if we want to, like, we can go back and
back.
stuff, but I'm not gonna do that to a 90-year-old that needs to get to bed or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
One
it's
day we
just
will be together again to watch Dancing with the Stars.
I know, and we can watch it our way 'cause and it's been so much fun, and we laugh, and,
Mhm.
like, Grandma Margaret is 90 years old, and she says the funniest things, about the dances, and she's always so funny, but, yeah, it is different watching
Yeah.
in that environment than it is watching with you and, really being able to, like, pause and maybe go back and kind of critique it as we
Mhm.
go along.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It is definitely different for sure. Um,
But,
s-
yeah, she got 10 and 2 nines.
yep, 10 and 2 nines. First 10 of the season.
Mhm.
Next was Allison and Sasha. Viennese Waltz, perfect by Ed Sheeran. Telena, she broke through for me.
Oh my gosh, I
I loved it.
I was crying.
Oh, the entire time.
"Allison." I was like, "Allison, like, this is so" I'm gonna cry right now. Like, my thing is it sucks because this week she was not the weakest link. The
No.
last couple of weeks, she was kind of the weakest link, and I was just like, "I really like you, and I can tell, like, that you have such a good spirit and that people really like you probably behind the scenes, and you're a really good person, you just seem so genuine and you seem so
Yeah.
sweet." But unfortunately, you're having a hard time dancing, but you're the only person in this competition. Well, maybe Harry. I kind of maybe I don't know. No, but yeah, maybe Harry. But she's like really the only person on this show that has zero dance experience. So
Yeah.
like she really is starting from the bottom and working her way up, and you can tell how much hard work she is putting in.
Yep.
And she just transformed. Now, yes, there were still stumbles if I compare
Yeah.
her to other people, maybe she's a little wobbly here, she needs what help in this area, but I just could not believe the transformation.
Oh,
I
me
could
either.
not believe the transformation. It was so good. She looked so beautiful.
She did. She looked
Like her
gorgeous.
and Sasha just really moved well. He wasn't pulling her. She
Yeah,
didn't
she
miss a
floated.
step. Yeah,
Yeah.
she floated.
There was just a tiny, tiny section in the middle of the song where
Right.
it started being like, oh my God, are you falling behind? Are you starting to stumble? Is he starting to drag you along? And then she pulled it back and
And she
she
made
was
it
in it
work.
again. She caught herself. Um, but yeah, it was fucking beautiful. I loved it. It was so soft.
I was so
Balance
proud of
days were
her.
beautiful.
Because usually she's very like clod hoppy and she's very
Well,
heavy on her feet and she, doesn't have that finesse because she's not a dancer. And it must be hard when you have to learn all these routines and you have to have a finesse about it. Like you only have a week, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And so I was just so freaking proud of her.
Well, you know what I think it is I think that we've actually been doing her a disservice because, she's been coined as like the funny girl. And so for every single dance, pretty much except for this dance, and I guess her tango that she did, where it was, I think that was like week 2, so she was still like in the trenches technique
Mhm.
wise. They've given her these like schmacky, funny dances because they're like, well, we're playing to your strengths. I thought this was her strength. I thought this
Well, I agree,
beautiful,
but
soft, connected to love
mhm.
was her strength.
Because even when I was looking at pictures of her and her husband, just like candid photos, I was like, oh my gosh, she doesn't look like this hard, not that she's ever been hard because she's sweet, but like kind of goofy, like
Goofy, yeah,
person. You could tell that she has this like really soft, sweet, kind of elegant side to
yeah,
her
uh-huh,
just from the pictures.
yeah,
And I was like, oh wow. And right when I saw those pictures, I was like, oh, I think she might be able to do. I don't know. There's just something about, and there were 2 pictures, and there's
I
still
know.
pictures, and I could just tell like the essence of this like softness that she was going to bring to the dance, and I freaking just loved it. But even in the package when she was dancing, even Sasha was like, not that face, because she automatically deflected to,
Yeah,
and he was like, no, 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 like you don't
yep,
have to do that. You're allowed to be vulnerable. Like just because
yeah,
you're a comedian and you do funny shows and when you perform you're typically, funny, you don't even have to be serious, like you just have to be soft and she
yeah.
brought it and she
She
did a
did.
really good
I
job.
was
I
so
was
proud of
really proud
her.
of her.
I was so proud of her. Um,
Mm.
she got straight sevens. I would have been okay if she would have gotten straight 8s, but she did stumble a little bit. And compared to her other dances, and she was getting 5s and 6s and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it
Mhm.
makes sense. Like, and I think she feels okay with solid 7s. So
Yeah, this is like her best score of the season, I think. And maybe if she would have got 1.8 I would have been happy just because her growth, just if we are basing it on. But that's the thing, sometimes I don't know what these judges are basing it, sometimes I feel like they're basing it on, from the week before and the improvement, and then sometimes I feel like they're only judging the stance, and then sometimes I feel like they're comparing it to other. I don't
other
know, it's
dances,
just so hard, it's so hard,
yeah,
and I do feel like on um, certain days, I feel like they do judge based on certain things.
yeah. Like they're like, okay, well, this is the week that you base on technique. This is the week you base on emotion. This is the week you base
Mhm.
on comparing to others.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a thought. I
What?
think that next week for Halloween, they're going to start. I think for next week for Halloween, I'm going to assume that everybody's going to do their individual dance and then they'll probably do a group dance.
I freaking hope so, we gotta bring back the group dance.
Well, I feel like they were doing really long. They were letting the judges talk for a long time today. I felt, or last night I felt, and I felt like the skybox was going. They were asking questions and not cutting them off and stuff. So I feel like they were trying to fill a lot of time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, it's getting to the point now where they're either going to have to mumble along and fill a ton of time,
Yep.
and the packages seemed longer too.
Yeah.
Um, or they're going to have to start doing group dances, and then eventually, obviously, they'll start doing 2 dances.
Mhm.
So, I think it's coming. And I love when they do the group dances on Halloween because it's just
Me
fun.
too. I know.
It's just fun. So I'm excited for Halloween night.
I know, me too, and I wonder what everybody's gonna be, and they're gonna do some sort of version of well,
It's monster night. That doesn't mean they can't do toxic.
because they always do like a cool ass version of Toxic during Halloween or during some point of the season. And I love that song. Can do no wrong.
Oh, I
Every
know.
version I
Any
like.
version of that
Every
song
version
I
I
love.
like.
Yeah, I
Oh
love
God.
it.
So Harry and Riley were next.
Yes. Okay. Yikes.
Woof.
His year to remember was 2020. It was when Too Hot to Handle came out. This is sort of when he catapulted to fame. And it seems like the traditional story of, he partied too much, he started getting hate mail, he didn't know how to handle, this newfound fame because he was just a small boy from the farmland or whatever he said. And so, and I can understand that, how you sort of end up going crazy with, it's different because it's a different world.
Well,
He
and
said he could,
he was young still, you know what I mean? And
he's young, yeah, when
he's
that all
young, and
happened.
so he got really into drinking and whatever. And then he said that he had his friends, that were honest with him and they kind of pulled him out of this like dark era. And
Took
you
him
know
to a
what? I'm
spiritual
here
healing.
for Harry to have a little redemption, but unfortunately, the
He
dance
can't
was a
dance.
no.
He just
He's
can't
the
dance. Like, he just can't dance.
and he just stood there. I don't think he did. I think this is what he did. This is
Yeah,
his one dance move. Like
yeah,
he was like boop boop boop, and I was like, well, you didn't even nail that. Like
yeah.
Riley danced around him, and I felt very uncomfortable at the end when she
He was
like
laying on
put him
top of
down on the
her.
ground, and because it wasn't even
Artistic.
artistic. Like it felt very choppy in the dance. It didn't feel like it flowed into like when we get to Mauricio and Emma
Uh-huh.
and they ended up on the ground. Like I loved that last little
I
piece,
did
and we'll
too.
get to them. But like with Riley and Harry, it was like, okay, I guess we'll give the people what they want, which was just nasty. And I don't know, like I didn't like it. I didn't think it flowed in the dance. I thought it was very awkward. I thought it
Yeah.
felt choppy. Even the judges were like, I don't know what happened at the end.
Yeah, it even just from the very beginning when he was like walking forward, I'm like, why are you walking like like he didn't have any bend in his knees? Like
Yeah,
it was
it
weird. It was so I literally wrote so many questions.
yeah.
There was nothing good about that dance. I'm sorry, but there was nothing redeeming about that dance. She fell out of a bunch of stunts. They're like, well, we know you're strong. And it's like, she fell out of so many stunts. Like, yes, he might be able to hold her up in the stunt, but coming in and going out of the stunt is just as important. And they did not execute it.
Yeah. And she just danced so hard around him, and
Nope. It was
it just
not
was
good.
not it. But he must have a really big fucking
That fan
fan
base.
base.
Yep. Carrie Ann said he took a step back. I completely agree. That
Yep.
is definitely what happened. Um, Carrie Ann also said though, like when they're touching you come to life. And I'm like, stop trying to put them together. She is 18 years old. He is 26 years old. It's disgusting. Why is everybody trying to force them together? I mean, I guess if they want to be together, like she's legally the age and like whatever, do you? But oh, it's just so icky to me that everybody is trying to like force this love story.
I know, I
Ew.
agree. And then even when the judges start doing it, it gives me the ick, and I'm just like, ew. And she's like, when you guys come together and you have like body contact is when you come alive. And it's like, but did he? I don't know. It was just so bad. Like
It
the
was not
dance was
good.
not good. And Riley was just dancing around him. And I don't know if you saw, but I guess she got accused last week of, and I'll
Yeah.
have to go back and look at the dance of copying her, Lindsay Arnold, her sister's,
Uh-huh.
Woody dance, like move for move, same outfit, same song, same costume.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I don't really know what's going on with that, or if there's rules and regulations against that, or,
Mm.
you know, if you can't come up with your own choreo,
Here's
should
the
you be a
thing is
pro?
I rewatched it and it was the part where they're like this face to face and they do the bump up bump ba dum bump that part.
I Okay, so it was
And
only that part.
I'm pretty sure because I watched both of them and that was the only part I recognized. And I will say, as a choreographer, there are some things that just make sense.
Yeah.
You know, like when I work with, you know, my other people that I choreograph with and stuff, there's sometimes where we're like, oh my God, let's do this. And it's like, okay, we both had the same idea,
Mhm.
even though we didn't tell each other beforehand, because it just makes sense
With the
musicality wise
musicality wise.
to put
Uh,
that into the choreography. So
okay, the article was making it sound like basically the whole entire dance was a carbon copy.
no, not that
Oh,
I saw.
I didn't look into it, so I really have
I
no
mean, there
reason
was
to
a
speak on
solid
it.
like 3/8 counts
Mhm.
where it was the exact same choreography, but it was in the bridge, like that
Mhm.
drum breakdown of that song, and they did a quick step, right?
They
The one
did
last week.
yeah. No. Oh, last week.
Last week for
Last week they did they do a quick step last
for
week?
Toy Story.
I can't remember what it was. Let me see.
Um, but also like you got to think about it too. There's
They
certain
did a foxtrot.
they did a foxtrot,
Yeah.
so you know it's there's in
Or no.
ballroom, there's specific dance moves that you like in Roomba, you do the Roomba walks. In Samba,
I'm sorry, Stevie. They did a quick step
they did
last
a quick
week.
step, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's certain moves in ballroom that are staple moves. Like
Mhm.
Samba, you do the Samba rolls. You
Mhm.
know, in the Roomba, you do the Roomba walks. So to put in those staple choreographed pieces and then to say you copied choreography, I don't know. That's a hard sell for me.
Yeah. I was just repeating what the article kind of said. I
Oh,
didn't
I
look
know, I
too
know.
deep into it, but yeah. So they got straight sixes. I mean, maybe Riley deserves a six, but Harry
It was
straight up to
a
it
four.
was yeah, it was a 4 or 5 dance like for Harry if you're just
Yeah,
judging Harry because he literally did not move.
yeah,
And when he did move, it was so stiff. It wasn't
it wasn't good.
contemporary for men sometimes I feel like is just woof.
And that's the problem too, is yeah, unless you really know how to dance, contemporary for a man, I feel like is a lot harder. Because when you're a woman, I feel like, you know, you can just play to like the softness,
Mhm.
and you can just sort of do a bunch of stuff with your arms and people get like bedazzled by it. But
Mhm.
when you're stiff and you're a man and you're big and you're tall and you're bulky and you're strong like that,
Yeah.
like it just doesn't read. It just doesn't read when you have no
Yep.
musicality, and Harry has none.
And just Riley has done him no service and I know she's trying to prove herself
But she's
as
a
a
baby. She's young.
pro, but she really isn't proving herself to me when she's just dancing around him being like, "Oh, look how good I can be."
Yeah.
Um, and I know it's just because she's young and she's one of the youngest to ever be on the on the troupe and
Hmm.
she's excited and or I mean be a pro, but I don't know. And you know what? I'm gonna give her the chance to redeem herself, especially if Lindsay's gonna keep on having babies or whatever and she's not gonna come back to the show. Like I don't mind if Riley is on and I have hiccups to watch the growth, but I hope she I hope she's learning a lot from this season, and
I hope
she's
so
not
too.
just falling in
Throwing it
love and
away.
getting and throwing it away because this is an opportunity you can't waste, you know?
I agree. I agree.
Oh my gosh, so Len Goodman Tribute was next.
Yep. I
I
didn't
was
know that Mark Ballas's mom Len was Mark Ballas's mom's dance teacher.
oh, I didn't know that either.
Um, but I mean, it seemed like all of those pros had been connected to Len outside of Dancing with the Stars before Dancing with the Stars, like when they were dancing as children. They did a traditional waltz to
Mhm.
a really beautiful cover of Moon River.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna cry talking about it. It was just so beautiful. It was so good.
It was gorgeous. It
It
was
was so
Jenna
good.
and Val choreographed it.
Mhm.
And it's just so crazy too to, see all these other people dance and be like, oh, I love it. And then watch the professionals dance. And you're like, forget about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, yeah, I loved it. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful tribute with the opening package into the dance, and then how they just ended like looking over at his spot and like showing Carrie Ann and Bruno.
Yeah, and then he had, like, the little spotlight on his chair. I was just shooketh. I was just like, it was
Yeah,
so good. It was so traditional. He would have loved it. Everybody looks so beautiful. Um, it was just it was so good. It was just so
yeah,
freaking good.
yeah.
Um,
Loved it.
and they showed his family, and we got to see all the old pros, which I really loved.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll watch that dance again. It was very
Oh,
good.
I'll watch it 1,000 times. I loved it.
Yeah.
Um, Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So I
Um,
will say though, going in, so Jason and Daniela went next with a quick step, and
mhm,
Brady and Margaret and I had paused it for a second earlier, so we were able to fast forward through the commercials. So we
mhm.
went straight from like this emotional Len Goodman all of a sudden into the quick step, and I kind of didn't have that
It
commercial
jarred me.
break.
It
It
jarred me.
jarred me. I was just like,
Yeah,
I couldn't get into Jason's dance, even though it was amazing and it was so good.
mhm,
I just it took me a second, and I'm gonna have to rewatch the dance because I was just like I was trying to catch up, but I was so emotional. And then,
yeah.
it was like, this good little quick step, but it just, for me, it didn't flow. Like, I wish maybe there was some sort of, I don't know, maybe Lele went after the
Yeah.
waltz just to kind of have more of a flow. But that's nobody's fault. That's has nothing to do with Jason or Daniela. Um, there were some wobbles, but he can freaking dance, and
Oh
his
yeah.
frame was better from last week. Um,
Well,
and
his year was 1999, and he was from Farmville, Virginia. He was working as a janitor at an elementary school. Had no idea. And then one day he just drove to Cali. He was like, "I'm going to pursue my dreams of
mhm,
music," and he obviously did, and he's been very successful. Um, Now last week Derek asked him to like use his legs a bit more.
uh-huh,
I feel like he did that.
yeah.
Obs. Um, I felt like there was a fumble in the beginning, but then they caught up.
Yeah, I felt like there was, like, I agree with that, and there were just, like, little wobbles here or there. Um, but I love watching him, and he
Yeah,
seems like such a
choreography was cute.
genuine good person. Like, there was a part where Brady and I were laughing so hard because I can't remember whose dance it was. It was I think it was maybe Mauricio, or no, it was Barry, when Barry was getting his comments, and Jason is in the background, and Brady was like, "Gosh, find you somebody that looks at you like Jason looks at Barry." And you
Aw.
just see Jason in the background, and he's just like,
Oh, I didn't see that.
"Yes."
I'll have to go
It
back and
was it
watch.
was it was really cute, but he just always looks like he's very active and listening, and that
Yeah,
he really, like, soaks in the experience, and he really takes the judge's notes well, and he just seems like a genuine and good person,
yeah.
and so I like that for him because he's also an amazing dancer,
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was definitely his better ballroom dance than last week for sure.
and he definitely thrives at the Latin dances.
He thrived at the Latin dances. But he took the notes from last week and he got better. And the
Yeah,
choreography was fun. Um, that song he said was the song he listened to on his way to California, and
mhm,
Wrote Again by Willie Nelson, but he actually covered that. So that was him
yeah,
singing.
mhm.
So I thought that was really sweet. Carrie Ann said he was superior in the competition. I don't know if I mean, he's definitely up there. We've talked about this. It's like Ariana, Sochi, Jason. They're top 3 still to me.
I think for me too, and I think for I think out of all the males, yes, he is the most
Oh, he's the
superior.
best male for sure.
Yeah. Even though these last 2 weeks I have favored Sochi and Ariana over Jason, I still want him to be in the top 3 and go to the finale.
I agree. He got 3
Great
nines.
nights. Yep.
Um, I thought that was more than deserved.
Mhm. I
Next
agreed.
was Lele and Brandon. They did a
Mhm.
contemporary to Stand By You by the Pretenders.
Yep.
Her most memorable year was 2020 when she released her docu-series about OCD, anxiety, and her Tourette's. Um, I guess she's married, didn't know that.
Mhm.
But Guana, I think his name is. I think
Yeah.
it's a little strange that they haven't seen each other in 2 months.
Well, he's working on the East Coast and she's on the West Coast.
I know, but you haven't seen your husband in 2 months? I don't know,
Well,
I don't know, it just
if
seems
you're
weird to me.
working,
I
if you're
guess.
working and you can't, sometimes you got to make those sacrifices, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you're right,
I feel
I
like there's lots of
love
couples. Think of all the bachelorettes that don't get a see, and then they go straight from the bachelorette or bachelor onto the show, and then
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
true,
get a
that's
see, and then
true.
they break up.
Um, I
I loved their dance.
oh, I did too. When they were doing the slow walks up the stairs, I
Oh,
loved
yes.
that. Yeah, I loved that. Brandon, it wasn't my favorite choreo. It wasn't my favorite choreo, but my God, Brandon is strong.
Oh my God, he's so strong. That's what Brady and I were saying. We're like, wait, did he just lift her?
I was like, what? Like
Because like you
Layla's
don't.
tall. Like Layla's not like big by any means, but like she's not a bird.
Oh yeah, no, like he surprisingly is stronger than he looks.
Yeah.
Um, but I love Lele because I feel like she really is kind of the dark horse, and I feel like she really hones in and she always takes the notes and she gets better every single week and she really just improves. And I think she obviously has a fan base because I don't think she's been in the bottom and her scores have been mediocre
Mhm.
enough when she's kind of in the middle of the pack, but unless you're really looking, you won't like really see you kind of I don't want to say you forget about her, but she isn't this big personality mogul in
Yeah.
America and at least I mean, I never heard of her until now.
Either. Yeah.
Um so I really I really like her and I think she is making Brandon better. So I think it is a good partnership.
I think so too. They got straight eights. I think that was well deserved.
Mhm.
I think that I am excited to see her grow a little bit more.
Yeah.
Next was Sochi and Bao. They did Viennese Waltz in from by the song Until I Found You.
Mhm.
Um, her our memorable year was 2021 when she was starting Marvel. She was
Mhm.
15 years old. She was the first Latina superhero. But she didn't get a quinceanera. It's so funny, like when they're young, what they're upset about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just crazy. Like, and I think she should. I think that that was great. I like that she had a very sweet moment in her life that she felt like she missed out on that she got to relive. I'm happy that it wasn't like
100%. I'm like, I
something
can't.
drastic, like my dad died or something. Like God, I don't know if I could handle that.
Yeah, and it was sweet, and, like, for me, it wouldn't be a big deal, but that's, like, a big thing in that culture, and
Yeah,
so for her to miss that, like, that must have been so hard. I mean, she made the right choice. She's, you know,
live.
young, and she's in a great franchise, and
Yeah,
now she's on Dancing with the Stars, so, she made the right choice of, missing her quinceañeras to go beyond Marvel, but I was glad that she kinda got that moment, and I don't love tiara. I was like, "Why is she wearing a tiara? Why does
it
she look
makes
like
sense now.
Cinderella right now?" But then after they explained her package, I was like, "Okay, I can
I
get
can get
behind it."
behind it.
I love the Venus waltz. I there were like 2 parts where I feel like at one part she didn't extend her arm, and then when she did that one kick, she didn't extend her leg, and maybe it was the
Yep, I
dress.
agree. I agree.
So there were 2 parts where I was like, "That
It
was
was,
weird." But
yeah.
other than that, I freaking love watching her. I think she's cute as a button. I think she's sweet. She can dance.
Well, I
Um,
loved that the it wasn't a romantic Viennese waltz. It was just
yeah,
like this. I felt like she was doing her dance, like her introduction
senior
dance at
dance,
her
yeah.
quinceañera. Um, I mean, it was advanced. There was a ton of content in it, but obviously,
Well, even Julianne said she was like, "Wow, like if you actually did that dance at your quinceañera, then whoa."
exactly. But it's just I loved the youthful feeling of it. But I mean, Val, come on, he's a great choreographer.
He's
So,
amazing. And so she got a 9, 10, and 9.
mhm,
I can agree with that because there were those few little points where I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, maybe you could have extended a little bit more. Maybe you just had, like, a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction." But
mhm.
and Carrie Ann said that. She was like, "Oh, there was, like, a little wobble, so I knew she was gonna get a 9." But if there wasn't that wobble, she probably could have got straight 10s.
It was a good dance.
It
It
was
was
really good.
beautiful. It was she's good. Sochi
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah, I love her. Oh my god, so
Um,
next,
ah,
Mauricio and Emma. I freaking loved it.
I did too. They
I
did a contemporary.
Yes, I loved the choreo. I thought he had finesse. He's really come a long way, and I'm so happy that he stayed because I know he was kind of on my shit list in the beginning, and I was like, "Ew, no." Now I'm excited to see him. Now I'm just like, the whole entire time before eliminations, I was like, "Oh my god, I hope he doesn't get eliminated because now I want to see what he can do next because he really actually had finesse about him."
He did. He did great last week. He really came through this week. His year, his memorable year was 1996. He had 2 kids. He got fired from his job. He felt like a failure. He couldn't put food on the table. They were living in a small, 2-bedroom apartment or whatever with all these people. And
Rags to riches story.
rags to riches story, and he went into real estate and it obviously was the extremely right choice. And
Mhm.
you can really see that he is a hard worker. And Derek even said it. Derek was like, you know, that second, I think it was week 2 or maybe it was
Mhm.
week 3, but no, it was week 2. He fucked up. I mean, he blacked out
Yeah.
and forgot all of the choreography.
Yep.
And also, now that we know that he's getting divorced, and now that we know this backstory about how they sort of rags to riches, they had this.
And there's rumors that him and Emma are together.
Oh, is there?
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting.
Just rumors. I don't put too much stock in it,
How
but
old is he?
I
He seems a lot older
I
than Emma.
eh,
Whatever.
people do it all the time, but
Yeah.
I was like, "Ooh," and, like, they definitely had I mean, they connected during that dance.
Yeah, they did. I loved their ending pose. We talked about that. Like, he really acted it well. He did really well.
Yeah,
And you know what? He started off as one of the worst ones. And I feel like he
he's the dark
is
horse.
heck is yeah, he's improved the most from beginning to currently. He's the
Yeah,
one who has improved the most.
I agree 100%. Because at least for, like, with Lele, like, you could always tell that she can dance and
Yeah.
she has improved every single time and blah, 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 but Mauricio in the beginning, I thought was hopeless. I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, "Get him out of the competition, he's not gonna be good,
And
he's
he
not
was in the
gonna go
bottom.
far."
And then
And he was in the bottom, and I don't think he's been in the bottom ever since. I can never remember.
I can never remember either. I gotta start like keeping my old notes. He got
Yeah,
straight eights. I think that that was more than fair. He still does have some stiffness, but he did every single move. He didn't mess up. And ever since he really fucked up that one week,
mhm,
he hasn't missed any moves. And
right.
technically he's improving every single time.
I loved it. I wanna watch it again.
I loved it so much. And
It
then
was so good.
last was Barry and Peta.
Mhm.
They did a Paso Doble to Born to Be Wild. His year of memory was 1968 when he got the Brady Bunch.
He
Um,
was so cute when he was younger.
I
I mean, he's
love
cute now, but I love looking at all the old photos of him.
I do too. I loved his little Paso stomps.
I
They were so
know.
cute. I
I
love him. He really
love
does have
watching
my
him.
heart. He's America's sweetheart.
I love watching him. I think he does such a freaking good job. But I freaking just hate PETA.
I
She
know.
counts like she counts like he is the dumbest person in the world and he can't keep up. And I think if
No.
anything, that messes that has more that that's going to mess him up is
Well,
when
we
she's
talked about this
yelling
last
and
week.
screaming at the counts.
Yeah, no, we talked about that last week. It's like I feel like he can do it. If you just like he knows what he's doing. He doesn't need you screaming the counts in his ear. And then he fucked up last week. But first of all, you were giving him stunts, which don't fucking do that.
Yeah, he
Old.
no offense, but like he's old. Like he can't be lifting you. He's gonna
Yeah.
break a freaking hip.
So you you straight up put him in a bad position. That was bad on you as a teacher.
Yeah, and a
You know?
choreographer. Yeah.
As a choreographer, as a teacher. But I don't really, yeah, like you said, I don't think PETA needs to be screaming 1, 2, 3, 4, go this way, go that way, arm up, leg out. Like, stop. Ew, you don't need to do that.
I don't think she needs to do that either, and it just feels like they're never gonna be good enough, like, together when she's doing that, because it makes me feel like she doesn't trust her partner and she doesn't trust Barry. Barry can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the dance is slower than other people and then other
The
people,
choreography's
and
simpler.
the choreography is, more simple and whatever. But why? Oh my God, every time I see her face, I get so irritated because she's literally just screaming at the top of her lungs the dance steps and the counts. And I'm like, you do not have to do that.
I know.
Barry is not dumb.
Yep, I know. I hate it.
And
They
I
got
honestly
straight.
think the reason why he messed up was last week was because she's not letting him just fully be immersed into the dance. She's screaming
Yeah.
at him. Why are
Yeah.
you screaming at him?
And maybe she screamed the wrong thing or something.
Maybe she screamed the wrong thing, or I don't know. I feel like it's almost like a power trip for her,
Yeah.
or it's almost like if I'm doing this and then if we lose, like there's proof that I was, trying my best.
Yeah, I'm not
Because she's done
interested.
this with every single partner I feel like she's ever had. She's
Yeah.
always screaming the counts.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. He got 3 8s. I was fine with that.
Mhm.
So now we're at elimination.
Yep.
The final 3
Mhm.
Mira,
Yep.
Allison, and Harry. Now,
Okay, but here's the thing: is they keep on doing these 3 things, so we never know who's truly in the bottom 2.
correct.
So
Who do
that's
you
what's
think was
crazy.
really in the bottom 2?
I think it was Mira and Harry.
I think it
think
was Mira and
Allison.
Allison.
I don't know. Allison has a really, really strong fan base, I think.
But Allison was in the bottom last week too.
Oh, was she?
Wasn't she? She was in the
I have
bottom
to look.
last week. I'm almost
I
positive.
can't see. I can never remember.
And
Let me
Harry was
look.
the first one to get called last week. So Harry was safe from the very beginning last week.
No, last week was Lele, Adrian, and Barry.
Oh. Wow. So we really haven't had the same final 3 over and over.
No, we haven't.
So,
I don't think we've had once where somebody's been in the bottom 3 twice.
so you think Mira and Harry were in the bottom 2 and Allison was safe, but she just got wrangled into the bottom 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I can agree with that, I guess.
But I'm sorry, Harry deserved to go home.
Harry deserved to go home, but Mira and Gleb went home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm not
Mira,
necessarily mad about it because she hasn't given us anything.
I don't
And
really
Harry's
about
kind
that.
of been like, despite Harry not being able to dance, sometimes he's given us, you never know what to expect from him,
Yeah.
where Mira, every single time, she's just flatlined. And I'm happy Allison didn't go home, because now that she had that dance, I would like to see her for another week, even though unfortunately she's going to have to go home at some point.
Yeah.
But
Eventually.
Harry should have gone home. He had
Yeah,
the
he deserved
worst
to go home.
dance. He deserved to go home.
He's hands down the worst dancer there at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, so next week is Monster Week. It's Halloween night on Halloween. I love it.
I know, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna see if I can get some trick-or-treaters.
I know I bought a whole bunch of candy, and then I was told that only like 3 people show up to the house. And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have all this.
You know what it is?
Candy.
I don't think people go trick-or-treating door to door like that anymore. They go to
That's
events
scary.
that schools are putting on or the city's putting on, and
Or trunk or treats.
and
Yep.
just because it's maybe a little bit safer and whatever. But you know what? I'm still gonna try. I bought my candy. I'm gonna sit outside and
Cute.
see if people come, and if they don't, well, I always have Dancing with the Stars.
That's true. Are you going to? What are you going to dress up as?
I don't fucking know. Every year I usually do something like Christmas
Christmassy?
for my Halloween, and this year I wanted to do Heat Miser from A Year Without Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But now, it's 6 days away and it's on a Tuesday. I have to work.
Yeah.
I literally have to work.
Yeah.
And I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to any parties. Like, I'm a loser. I do
You're
have the
not.
Halloween tree up in the back, though.
Yay, I love the Halloween tree.
I have the Halloween tree set up. Papa's like, why do you have a Christmas tree? And I'm like, it's not a Christmas tree. It's a Halloween tree.
Yeah. I'm glad you
Yeah.
found all the decorations.
Oh, yeah. So I put up the tree. But, you know, I don't know. I just don't feel, I don't want to say I don't feel in the spirit, but
Mhm.
there just hasn't been, I don't have anything to look forward to. You know, I mean, obviously, like, we're at my work, we're doing costume week. So today is on Monday we did Scooby-Doo gang, so I dressed up as Fred.
Cute.
And then yesterday we did Wizard of Oz, so I was the Scarecrow. And now today we're doing Barbie, so I'm doing hippie Barbie, so that's why I look like this. Tomorrow is Winnie the Pooh, so I'm gonna be Rabbit. And then
Cute.
Friday is Disney villain, so I'm gonna be Cruella de Vil. So, you know, that's been fun. So I've sort of been doing some like Disney bounding.
You gotta
Um,
send me the pics.
okay, I didn't take any, girl. I'm too busy. Work is like, because we have shows, we have our little Halloween shows going up yesterday and today for the baby
Yeah.
babies. So it's just been wild. It's been crazy at work, but
Yeah.
and with the holiday season coming up, it's gonna get even crazier because we have all kinds of stuff. We have our Christmas shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's hard sometimes to be excited for the holidays when you're like in your 30s with,
Yeah.
you know, no kids. Like, when you're a kid, the holidays are really exciting. And when you have kids, I'm sure the
Mhm.
holidays are really exciting. But when you're in your 30s and you're like working all the time and you
It
know,
all
you
kind
really
of just
don't
blurs in together.
and all of a sudden you blink your eyes and you're like, fuck, it's gonna be Christmas, you know, in a couple
Yeah.
of weeks. Um, and you have bills to pay and a mortgage to pay and
Yep.
that kind of thing. It sometimes sucks the joy out of
Out of
things
it,
that
yeah.
should be joyful. But you know what? I'm gonna change my perception
There you go.
because guess who's coming out in 3 weeks?
I am.
Yay! We're gonna go see 1975. I'm so excited. So
I'm so freaking
I'm counting
excited.
down until we are reunited and um yeah.
Yay.
Yay. So
Okay,
make sure you
well, I'll
like,
see you.
huh?
I was just saying I'll see you next week for Dancing with the Stars podcast.
Yay! Yes. Like, share, subscribe. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about most memorable year. We're really excited to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks so much. See you next week. Bye.
Eggs and bacon.